Hotep, well, you are at a historic moment here. This is history. Today, you have come and you see the audience, you know who we are, but tomorrow there will be thousands. In fact, hopefully there will be millions who will come. This is a very, very historic occasion. And 50 years from now, hopefully you will look back and say, wow, I was there. 30 years from now, even your grandchildren will look back and say, wow, they were there. They were at the beginning of the Afrocentricity International. No, we need an international organization devoted to the idea of the rise of African consciousness. We don't need it to be an organization that's going to be limited by boundaries of nations, but an organization that would speak in one voice in the interests of the African world.
This is our motto. Unity is our aim. Victory is our destiny. Can you say it?
Unity is our aim. Victory is our destiny.
Do you like it?
Yes.
Right. Victory is our destiny, right? We're not here to lose. We're not here to complain about how rough, how tough things are. They are all that. We're here to look forward and think about ourselves as victorious people. And we are. I mean, just being here alive is victory in and of itself. If you think about all that we've gone through, truly, right? So we are a strong people, and this is what we're trying to capture in this. Dr. Asante has already talked about this, and so I don't need to dwell on it too much. But what we were able to see was that since Marcus Garvey's UNIA, we have not had any global Pan-African organization. And so we basically are trying to revive the spirit that informed Garvey's movement, but there are a few differences. Garvey's movement was about blackness. That was the binding ideology. If you were black, you belonged. In our case, it's not about blackness. It's about Africanness. If you're African, you belong, meaning being African means that you believe in certain, and you practice certain cultural values, right? Now, because we don't have a global organization, that means a number of things, like no global networking. It's been very hard. If Dr. Asante has not gone to New York on Thursday night, right, we would not have been able even to make a statement about Ivory Coast. We would not even have known that there were brothers and sisters in New York who cared about Ivory Coast as much as we did, right? No widespread solidarity and sharing of resources and ideas, no united voice, and of course, because we are not together under one umbrella, then we, of course, become very vulnerable and can be quite discouraged at times. Yet, there's a need for us to get united. When we look at Africa, Dr. Asante talked about it, the economic exploitation, the cultural suppression, the wars that Europeans create to keep us divided. Right now, they have the war going on in Ivory Coast, and while the people from Ivory Coast are fighting, then the French, I heard of this afternoon, are taking all the cocoa out of Ivory Coast. They have trucks on the ports right now, putting the cocoa on French ships to take that cocoa out of Ivory Coast, right, to France. Basically, they are stealing. They're doing it in Ivory Coast, they did it in Sierra Leone, they did it in the Congo, and they do it all over. And they're trying to do it in Libya as well, right? So we have problems, and how do we face them? In the United States, closer to us, I mean, we have problems with education, right? The so-called education, the imprisonment of our people, our economic disenfranchisement, our communities that really are not communities anymore, and certainly our religious indoctrination, our worshipping of the God of our oppressors. That's very problematic. So we have all these issues, and they're not unique to the US, but I'm mentioning them because we live here. And we know that we have to deal with that. You know, it breaks my heart when I see little black children going to those so-called public schools in the morning. I said, my goodness, we are surrendering our children. We are surrendering our future to our enemies. Can't we do better? Yes, we have the obligation to do better. We should not. Malcolm said it. Only a fool allows his enemy to educate his enemy, his children. And we see the result. And we shouldn't be surprised. It's all deliberate. White people set up those schools to have exactly what we have, growing numbers of young black people in the so-called justice system. Why do you think in Pennsylvania that the so-called education budget being decreased, but the prison budget being increased by 15%? Why? For whom are they building those new prisons? You know, so what do we do about this? Are we just going to sit there? I got tired of it. To get now into Afrocentricity International itself, what are its objectives? There are 7 of them. To unconditionally pursue African Renaissance, to identify proper sources of African knowledge pertaining to cultural, economic, and social phenomena, to analyze and critique domination in all circles and rescue language, symbols, historical documents, and monuments in the name of a renascent people, to encourage the generation of new and collective economic initiatives and businesses, to create and disseminate ideas that center people of African descent in their own historical experiences as a way of converting problems into solutions, to reground African people in their own ancestral traditions and rituals, and 7, to influence all African public policy in every continent and every country in order to accelerate the rise of Afrocentric consciousness, the hallmark of a true African Renaissance. So I will tell you that those 7 objectives can really be broken into or classified into 4 main dimensions. There's the intellectual dimension of Afrocentricity International, there's the political one, the economic one, and the spiritual one. We want an organization that addresses all of our needs. We're not just trying to have an organization that would address our educational needs. We're not trying to have an organization that would address our economic needs. We want something that is complete.